Hello there survivors, welcome back to another build tutorial in Ark Survival Ascended. Today we're building this modern tech breeding facility that I designed for my tribe mate because she needed more space to do all her breeding. Basically everything that fits inside you can breed here, but more specifically everything that fits through a dino gate would be nicest because then you can still go in and out of your base as well. Now I think most of this should also be possible unofficial. There's a few sections where I have a little bit of overlapping, but I show you ways how you can live without it, and then you should just be able to build this anywhere. But of course it's easiest to do it with overlapping. And you do need a glass structure, whether that is just greenhouse glass or maybe a modded structure or custom cosmetic. Doesn't really matter, but glass is necessary for this one. As always, if you like these build tutorials, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, maybe comment some suggestions of what you would like to see next. And if you want to show even more support, consider becoming a YouTube member. Tier 2 members actually get early access to all the videos that I post. Let's get into the build. Okay, and as always, we of course need to start with the foundations. So what we want to do is take out our triangle foundations. I'm going to be building out of tech, but yeah, you can easily also do this out of metal or any other material, but I think metal or tech probably looks best if you want the same like modern laboratorium vibes that this building has. So we start with this circle and then we're going to extend it by adding another layer of triangles all around it to basically make this a little bit bigger like so. And this is how we're going to start this build. Then we're going to just go around with normal foundations to make this even a little bit bigger. Then we'll fill in the corners of this circle like so, and then on the outsides where we have the normal foundations, we want to extend it by these triangles just to make it slightly bigger. Again, this is something that we're going to repeat quite a few times because, well, we need quite a big laboratorium or facility to make this breeding happen, of course. And then again, we're going to extend with the normal foundations. So basically, yeah, you always connect normal foundations to the triangles and vice versa. And yeah, we're just going to bring this out even more. So right now we're on 3 of these foundations. Going to fill these in even more. And we're going to make quite a big circle to get started with. So you do want to have a decent amount of space, that is for sure. And now on these ends, of course, we're going to start with our triangles again. Just going all the way around. So now you can see we are at like 4 triangles facing towards the outside. But it's still not enough, so we're going to continue on making sure that we add layer after layer until we have a big enough circle for this design. So yeah, ideally you would have a very flat spot where you can build this on, where you can just use your foundations. But if you really can't find a spot that is flat enough and big enough, of course you can just make sure that you have the foundation support, build it up a little bit higher, and then use a layer of ceilings instead. Although in my experience, creatures do not really like to live on ceilings. They start glitching through it stuff, so might be best to find a flat spot if you can. So yeah, we're just going to keep continuing. Right now we have 4 normal foundations here on the outside, which means we are getting close because we want to have 6 normal foundations on the outside layer. That's what we're working towards. Because that is a nicely sized base with plenty of space on the inside for all your breeding projects. Mostly of dinos that of course can fit through a dino gate, although you could technically have some bigger creatures in there, but then you would have to cryo them in and out, of course, because they can't fit out the gates. But yeah, we do have plenty of space on the inside, so whether you're just using this to breed or maybe you also use it as a base, yeah, don't worry. This should be should be good. So yeah, right now you can see we've got 5 normal foundations on the outside. So we're almost there. We're getting close, but we're not quite there yet. So we'll just keep going around, filling this in with another layer until we get there. Just going around. So yeah, this is a quite easy phase, but it is important because it basically, yeah, you lay down the whole shape of what we're going to work on today by placing all these foundations. So it is important to get this right. And of course, well, we need the foundation support anyway to get anything built up. So yeah, it's just a lot of going around and around and around until we get there. But we are in fact very, very close now. So we'll just go around a little bit longer. There we go. So now we can fill in these, but then on the outside we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is exactly the amount of normal foundations you want to have. So that means we now just need to fill in the remaining spaces with the triangles on the outside, and then we're good foundation wise to get started with the actual design of the place. So that is exciting. But yeah, it's definitely a big foundation, but once you've got it, we can quite easily start working on this base. So yeah, we'll fill in the last layer of triangles to make sure that we got this circle all the way around. And then we can get started on the real building, of course. There we go. And I think this might be the last one. Just filling that in, and there we go. So you should end up with a big circle like this. We're not quite done yet with the foundations. On the side where we have the full foundations, we're going to extend them by 2 more so that we get this little bit that sticks out from the foundation. You don't do anything with the triangles. You go to the next normal foundations and bring them out by 2. So basically, we're turning this circular shape that we've got going on right now into more something like resembling a cogwheel, I suppose. So yeah, we're just gonna extend all of these by 2. So yeah, once we've done that everywhere, it should look like this. Okay, then for the next phase, we need some glass. Well, you can either use some modded glass like I'm using, the ASR or Architect Structures Remastered glass, which looks really, really nice. But you can, of course, also just use the default greenhouse glass, which looks less nice. Or you can go for a custom cosmetic. There's a bunch of them out there. There's some modern ones. There's some clear glass walls as well. So yeah, just use either of those options, any of those. And then we're gonna make those 4 high walls out of glass on the triangle parts. So not the parts that we've just built, just on these triangles here. And yeah, basically we're gonna go all around everywhere to make this design happen. And the reason that I've used a lot of glass in this design is just so that you can actually still get a lot of natural light in, which is just nice. And well, also I just really like the look of having mostly a glass base. Of course, depends on what you're using, but for at least for this mod, this glass is just as strong as metal as well. So it's perfectly fine to use for your base. And yeah, this one actually looks like proper glass, of course, where you can have your nice view still be visible to you. So there we go. That should be all the sides filled in like this. And then we can also have 1 layer of normal tech walls on top of that, just to finish this wall layout. And then as just a little accent here in these walls, what you can do is take out your beams and add in a line like this and maybe another line like so. If you do have overlapping, what you could do is one of these at the top here, you could replace that with some quarter glass walls if you have the ASR mod, and then you can have another line going through the middle of it. But that's totally optional. I would at least have these two lines so they still had a little bit of a design into the wall. And then here at the top, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have roofs going up like this to add a little bit more shape to the wall, and then of course to start the top part of the build as well. And what we want to do as well is add a little layer of quarter walls on top of these roofs, which is going to be the start of our top layer of this build. And you can probably guess it, but yeah, this is what we want to do for all of these walls that we've just created. So yeah, it's just easier to do all of these steps right away, so you can easily remember what you need to add and what you need to do on each side, instead of doing one side completely and then having to reimagine what you need to do every time. So yeah, we'll just go around and do these same designs on all of these walls that we've just placed down. And there we go. That should end up looking something like this. Well, that's a good start, but of course there's more to this design. So what we want to do next is decide where do we want to have our front entrance. In my case, I'm going to pick this side. You can of course have entrances on all sides, but I use these bays as well to place down the tames that you're breeding. So it's easier if you just pick one entrance, and then we'll have some smaller entrances optional somewhere in these glass walls that we've already placed down as well. Then what you want to do is you basically want to go around the size of the gate, fill in your glass wall and one layer above it as well. And that's going to be the start of this wall. Then what you actually want to do is you want to place a wall right here. That's going to be the same height and then 3 more on top of it in total. So we'll do one here as well. And this is only on the side where we have our gate, so our entrance. So you want to be building at least this high. And here on these other sides, what you want to do is you want to have these 4 middle ones go 4 high with the glass wall, so the same height as the other walls. And then we want to have one of these tech walls on the sides in the corners, basically going to the same height for now. So yeah, again, we're gonna have 4 high and 4 wide glass wall in the middle, and then have the tech walls going 4 high next to it too. So the corners are going to be tech walls. And of course we want to repeat that for all of these sides that we still haven't built yet. So then we should have ended up with a build that looks like this so far. Now, the next step of the build is actually quite simple. We're going to take out tech ceilings, and we're going to basically repeat the pattern that is on the foundations to start filling in our ceiling. So yeah, basically you just copy whatever is underneath it, just for these part, not for the extensions that we've made. So first of all, we'll start out with just the outside layer of the build, just to make it a little bit more easy. And then of course we need to go how far to go, because the middle we're going to leave the roof open. So first we'll go around and do the outside layer of the build. So just copy the pattern that is on the floor, which should line up with all the walls that we've already built up all the way. That's how you can check if you're still doing the right thing. There we go. So we want to at least do the outside layer first. Okay, and then in order to know where you need to end up with those ceilings, it's easiest to start building in the inner walls as well. We want to go to the middle circle, and then you want to take out your gate and then find these 2 triangle ceilings like this. That's where we want to place a gate on every one of those corners. That's basically going to be our divider from the middle part to the rest of the build, as you can see. And then here in the middle we can of course fill it in again as well. We're going to make these 4 high. And we basically want to do that on all of these parts. So making them 4 high. Going up like this. And this is basically creating a hallway of the build. And then also the inner circle where in our case we have the teleporter to quickly get there from a different base. But this is also if you just want to use this as your proper base and not only a breeding facility. Then of course you can use the middle part, for example, as your base. And the outside ring for all of the breeding that you've got going on. What you probably also want to do is have these thin pillars connecting up at the sides of these glass walls. Just so that we have some kind of edge connecting them all the way through. Of course, it's hard to see them, but they are there. And you will notice them a little bit. So we just want to connect all of those up. All the way around until we've done that for every wall. Then we want to go to our beams and also have the beams going across like this again, just to add in a little bit of an extra detail as well. And then on top of there we can actually have a layer of tech walls, just to make it one higher. That should be the same height as the other walls on the outside that we've already completed all the way up. So you should have something like this. Then what you want to do is take out your roofs again and place those against the walls that we've just created. Basically hiding the tech wall from this inner circle part. You'll still see those, of course, from the hallway all the way around. Then we want to take out our triangle roofs and then fill in these last remaining bits as well. Basically to finish the shape that we started, and then we have a nice little circle going all the way up. And now that we've got those triangle parts, we can also fill in these walls above the gates with our windows as well, so that we got this intersection completely sealed off from the hallway, the actual breeding facility. And if you really want to, you can also have the beam continuing. You will barely see it, but it is technically there, so you might rest easier knowing it's all the same all the way around. But again, yeah, you barely can see it, but it's a little bit visible. So for the perfectionists out there, you might want to add that. And then on top of here, we want to have our quarter walls. Basically making that little border go all the way around like this. There we go. So we should have the design like this right now. Then here on this side, you also want to make sure that you place the tech walls on top of those parts above the gate. So that also from the hallway, it all looks nice as well. There we go. And that should be the design for now. And now that we've done that, it's easier to start filling in this entire place with these ceilings, because now you actually know where they need to end. And basically, you can start going around and fill in all of these ceilings from this inner circle that we've just made to the outer one that we started with. And those should all be ceilings. And then, of course, we have the opening in the middle to let in more of our natural light. So yeah, just go all the way around, copying this design that we have as the exact foundations below. But yeah, it should be quite easy to just follow the flow of your build and connecting all these pieces up without too much trouble. And yeah, we're just gonna fill this all in with the ceilings, copying the shape of the build. And once you've done that, I'll see you back in a little bit. Okay, and we should end up with a design looking like this. It's still looking a little bit crazy, but believe me, slowly but surely, we're getting to the final design. Okay, then we want to start on the walls of one of these side bits. What we actually want to do is extend them like so. So by 3, you of course want to make sure that it goes all the way to the ground. And then we want to raise this up all the way. This one we want to make sure is 2 higher than the walls that we've got so far, and the other ones are going to be 1 higher even more, so that we got this shape going on. And then we want to have a sloped wall right there. So we're going to do the same on all of these side buildings, except for the one with the main gate. That's going to be slightly different. So for now, we'll build this up the same way and then have the slope wall going up like that. Basically, we're going to do that all the way around. So there we go. It should start looking like this. Now here, where we did have the gate entrance, it's going to be pretty much the same. Of course, we already have the wall right there, which is a little bit further back. So we can just connect it straight into that. Then these two, we can make the same height. And then this one on the front, one lower, and have the same shape as we did for the other parts. So again, it's very similar, but because of the slightly different wall structure that we already had placed down, it looks a little bit different when you start, of course, but you're gonna end up with the exact same shape like this. Then this is where things get a little bit more interesting. We're gonna have these roofs like so. We're gonna fill in these ceilings on top like that. And then here in the front, of course, we can continue our wall all the way down like so. This is basically creating a little bit of a nice divider in the wall structure that we got going on, and just the general look of this whole build. And then, of course, here on the side, we also want to fill in this wall here, at least on the front where we have the gate. The other ones, again, are going to be slightly different because we do not want to fill in everything so that we don't lose space that we could very well use for our breeding facility. So for this one here with the gate, this is how we're going to fill it in, and I'll show you in a little bit what we're going to do for the other ones. But yeah, this should be what you have. And then, of course, filling in those sloped walls as well, so that we have this right now as an entrance structure. Then right here, of course, we got something that looks very similar, but it's going to be slightly different. We're going to, again, do the roofs like so. We're going to even connect the ceilings here on top the same way. Then, of course, we can have a wall going down, connecting to the structure right here. And then, of course, we can have this structure going on. But we'll leave it like that for now. And only on the outside are we going to bring this all the way down. Because we, of course, already had that wall for the inside. And then here, we're going to also fill in the entire front all the way down. So very similar, but slightly different. We're going to fix up this once we start doing the inside of these parts. But on the outside, it's going to be very, very similar. And of course, this is going to be the case for all of those, except the one that we use as the main entrance. But we've done that first. So all of the other ones, we can create this exact same shape. And then I'll see you once we've done that. Then here on the inside, we of course want to nicely tidy this part up. So what we do is we have our roofs going up from this one. So one before the end of this wall that we've created. Then of course, we're going to have a nicely sloped wall going into that. And then we can basically just close this structure like this and have it go up like that, filling in these ceilings there as well, so that you have a nicely tidied up the inside. So we'll do it once more. What we want to do is bring out our roof like this, get the sloped wall attached to it, fill in a normal wall, fill in a normal wall above it, and then having the ceiling go in like that. And of course, that design is basically what we want to get done everywhere on these sides that stick out a little bit from our initial circle. And once we've done that, what we want to do is at least fill in one more layer right here between those bits. So where they stick out, we want to fill in those with one more layer of these normal ceilings. And then we can actually add in this little quarter wall lip or border around these ceilings in between as well. So that we got most of the structure now complete. So we'll just go around and fill in these walls everywhere. Then we want to take out our tech roofs again, and we want to snap them like this from these ceilings. And yeah, we're gonna of course do that in every one of these bits, just to fill in the gaps and yeah, get this whole thing closed off from the outside. Of course, just going all the way around until we've done them all. We take out our metal beam and we'll go across the edge of these roofs. Just to, you know, make the connection look a little bit nicer, in my opinion. Of course, if you don't like it, you can always leave it out. Just gonna continue it all the way on every one of these portions of the roof. Now on these parts that we built first, you can see we still have a little bit of a gap. This is a slight problem because we will need to overlap. If you're building this on official, you can just extend this straight one more wall and that should be fine. But if you do have overlapping available, what we want to do is we have a triangle piece on these corners and then we'll place a wall on top of that to create the same shape as the rest of the building would have had and create this curve basically. And of course we're going to do that for all of these bits just so that we get this shape in right. So we're almost completely done with the design, but as you might have seen in the original design that I made, we have kind of this grass looking roof. The way you do that is with thatch ceilings and thatch triangle ceilings. Unfortunately, for some reason, Wildcard has not added triangle thatch ceilings to the game. It sucks, it's weird, there's no real reason I think why they shouldn't be in the game, but they're not quite yet. Hopefully they will be added in the future. So if you do not have any mods, I am using ASR, one of the best building mods out there, Architect Structures Remastered. That does add all of those extra bits and a bunch of other things, which I can definitely recommend. So we want to make this all out of thatch and paint it in the filth color. If you do not have the mod and you do not have the ability to install the mod, you might want to use wood or something instead and then paint that green. But yeah, in the ideal world, you would have the ability to use thatch. If you're looking for a great server with some cool building mods, check out my Discord. All the info for my community servers is in the description there. Yeah, basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna build the same ceiling roof that we've done before, the double layer, so that from the inside we have the tech roof, but from the outside we'll have a nice grass looking roof. The shape is gonna be the exact same, basically just filling it up until we reach the edge of our build. Okay, and then you should have a roof like this. Of course, as I said, you want to paint this all in the filth color to make it look nicer. And then if you do have overlapping, you can fill in these gaps. If you do not have overlapping, you unfortunately need those just open like this because you can't place anything there. But it's not the biggest. You're not really gonna notice it too much. But again, if you can, you might as well do so. Because, yeah, why not? Just be the perfectionist if you can be. Yeah, it's really annoying that Ark doesn't allow you to do that normally. Then we bring out our metal beams again and we go across the border like so, connecting to the ceilings that we've just placed down to make, yeah, that little edge for our build. Just as the last little bit of detail for this outside edge that we've created. Just looks a little bit nicer, you know, having a proper border for all of this. And yeah, then we have a pretty nice looking roof. Then we'll work on the inside circle a little bit as well, of course. But for now, we're just gonna go all the way around, placing in those beams on the edge, creating that nice little border for our build. There we go. Yeah, that nice little edge just makes it look a little bit nicer and finished. And then here on the inside, we basically want to do the same. So we're going to have these beams attached to all of the ceilings that we've just placed in as the roof. There we go. And then you can actually also do that on the end of these roofs that we build up here. So you have that double little edge, which I really like. Now, in my design, I would leave these middle open, but maybe if you're building on a server where you don't want everyone to be able to fly into your base, you can, of course, have a glass ceiling on this layer right here. Just fill it in with glass, maybe greenhouse glass or whatever, so that no one can fly into your base. But yeah, other than that, we pretty much have this whole design done. Then what you might want to do is here in the front, make a nice little entrance. You can go as big as you want, or as simple by just adding in a few stairs like this. That's totally up to you, but yeah, that is pretty much it. I would at least, of course, have a gate here on the outside, and then you have a base. If you want more entrances, as I said, I would only recommend having one big gate at the front, but maybe you still want to be able to enter your base here from the other side. What I would do then is maybe add some double doors in these parts so that you still have some extra entrances basically on the opposite side of where we started. There we go. Just some easy doors like this. And then I personally prefer to have like a little tiny thin beam above the door as well. But if you need extra entrances, this is how I would recommend doing it. And that is how you build it. Let's take a little tour of the build that I originally made. And first off, the biggest difference that you will instantly notice, of course, is I've painted my entire roof in the filth color. I've also added plants. There's a couple of ways to do this within Ark itself. You have the shovel and the plant pots from the Tall Tales DLC, which you can use to get plants on your roof, and then just having them all the way around. Or you can, of course, install some mods to be able to place plants even more easily. You can see I made a slightly different entrance here with 2 layers of triangles. Of course, you will need to be able to overlap to make this work, but otherwise I would just go for the simple staircase that we did in the tutorial. We got our entrance here, and then basically the base that we've just designed. So yeah, you've got these bits. Depending on what you're taming, you could make these little cages, or well, parking spots, I suppose, for your tames. But if you have bigger tames, you might not want to do this. But you can see there's a decent amount of space to start your breeding projects. Maybe you're just like my tribe mate, completely obsessed with getting all the different colors you can possibly breed. So then this is a very nice facility with a bunch of space in the base. And then if you have like a generator in the middle or maybe on the roof, you can easily power everything as well. So yeah, very easy and nice round design. Then these, of course, go into the middle part where you could have the food for all your tames, the teleporter, maybe some cryo fridges if you're really doing breeding here, and then maybe also some air conditioning units, of course, if you're breeding anything that has eggs, just to make sure that you can actually do it all. Or if you want this just to be your entire base, you can maybe have your crafting section here in the middle instead, and making everything that you need in here. With that being said, that is pretty much it for this design. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.